Welcome back. My guest tonight, Ampofo Ankrah, he says I can call him out for the purposes of this interview. My senior colleague, as I mentioned, he came into this job with a unique set of skills, highly respected journalist of international repute, but then also with some administrative nous, having headed the Beach Football Association in this country. In fact, having been at the forefront of the nation of beach sports in this country many years before the association gained traction. Now he happens to be in the hot seat as Director General of the National Sports Authority. Welcome once again.
Thank you very much. It's good to be here.
I think it's 8 months down the line. It's appropriate to start from the transition. As a journalist, you were in the position to scrutinize what people in authority did.
Yep.
As the head of a sports association that obviously was always struggling for funding and support to go for international events, you were also seated there and having to appeal to those who were seated in positions of power for support. Now you're in the hot seat. How's the transition been?
Hot seat, yeah. Hot seat. It's been quite hectic, I would say breakneck speed, because there's always something to do, Take football alone, take boxing alone, take athletics, basketball, tennis. But it's been great. It's been a great learning curve. We're learning every day. Administratively, it's constant learning, on the field, it's constant. Politically, because you need to touch base with the sports political ecosystem. Sports is very political. People try to shy away from that, but that is a fact, and you need to know how to deal with the various federations. Not every federation, the way you deal with cricket is not the same that you deal with, say, athletics. So it's still a learning curve. And 8 years, it seems like 8 years, 8 months. I'm saying 8 years, 8 months. It looks like 8 years. It's been, but it's been fun as well. Yeah. It's been great. We've had a lot of challenges, but we've also tried to deal with them as best we can. Boxing being the most, should I say, troublesome?
We'll come to that. Let me just ask you, what would you say has been the biggest reality check from an insider's perspective that you would have seen differently as an outsider?
Yep, quite a few. The funding challenge, I always knew it was difficult to get funds for federations and associations, but getting very close and then having athletes coming through literally pleading, begging on their knees, administrators frustrated, they can't get visas, or we've been bounced, can you call the embassy, can you go with us, we need just, we've raised half, we need just half, the deadline is tomorrow. It's been crazy, and it's great when we're able to do it, then we celebrate, but when we're not, then it becomes a problem, and that relationship with the international bodies as well, the federations outside, for example, swimming. We have a challenge with swimming. We need to touch base with the international body. They have a different view from what we want to do, and maybe a different perspective to how we see things. We had a challenge with weightlifting. We got in touch with the international body, the African body. They were willing to get involved, but then it gets to a point they're like, okay, we're protecting our federation. And then you need to look at it. Do we take a decision that it's the right decision, but the international body might not see it like that. They might misinterpret, they see it differently, and they would punish your federation. So now you have a situation where in trying to do the right thing, you will be sending the wrong signals.
Is this in relation to interference?
Yes.
Or where to draw the line?
So the local federations could then go and say, look, see, they're interfering. And that comes with a penalty, a ban of months, and a financial punishment as well. So you need to be careful. You need to study the terrain, and then you need to constantly be communicating. So it's been a really good learning curve, and it's constant. There's no pause. There's no relax. You can't relax at the NSA.
How do you deal? I mean, and you've been in the shoes of these associations.
Sure.
So you know how things work at that level. How do you ensure good governance, enforce good governance, because I'm sure there will be elements within the association and its jurisdiction that would also appeal to say we need things done in a different way. How do you manage that together with not incurring the wrath of these international associations, as you've said?
Great question. It's a balance, and it's one that we keep asking ourselves every day. So what do we do? Let's get in touch with them. And some of them would actually tell you that, okay, go through our federation, go through our association, and if an association is misbehaving or the heads are misbehaving, there should be an election. You don't want to have elections, you're delaying, and we say, go and have elections. Okay. They say it's interference, you know. So you really have to balance it. And before you realize, you get a letter back from the international body saying that our rules clearly state that this is a breach and you are interfering. So please back off. And you have to back off. You need to engage. You need to talk to them and have a conversation and conversations rather than say, okay, we're the body, we take a decision, whether you like it or not. It won't work, because in the end, you possibly end up punishing your own federation and association.
You know, the Act 934, which is the NSA Act, has provisions relating to auditing of the associations, that they have to renew licenses on a yearly basis. Of course, there's a standard, there's a threshold they have to meet for the licenses. Has this been operationalized?
So that's probably one of the biggest, not challenges, but opportunities for us to clean up the federations. But we need to engage.
Because it's law.
It is. We need to engage. We need to have a situation where we tell them we're about to enact this. It's going to be operational, but you need to understand why we're doing it. Otherwise, there'll be pushback, there will be resistance, and we need to have all the associations and federations moving with us because it's in their own interest. We are in that process. We've had a number of engagements, which has been very useful because you can sense that pushback. And then we say, look, not all of you are on the same pedestal. We can't say that because we've states or ministry has released 1 million Ghana cedis, everybody gets his equal share. It doesn't work like that. We need to have categorization. We need to make sure that you're in good standing. Are you operating in 6 regions or 10 regions? Your general secretary, you have basics, websites. We need to find out how much is going in your accounts, how much are you spending, your books, are they being audited? We need to have all these. And because of that, you need to have those conversations so that when you start and you say, Federation, you're not in good standing, you're no longer entitled to ABCD, they understand. But if you go away and you straight away just try to enact that, it won't work. There'll be chaos. Yeah, there will be chaos. So we're in that process, we're talking to them, and very soon we'll start, doing the do, as it were.
Then as you're supposed to promote and develop sport, obviously, as you said, this is a money issue. So let's look at the funding, funding situation. Since you came into office, have you remedied this? Do you have a blueprint yet?
Absolutely. So what we're doing in terms of finding solutions or answers is that we need to go back and find out what has been happening over the years. Why haven't we been able to, for example, get funding for federations internally so that they can also generate through their own means and then get support from their international bodies? The Honourable Minister for Sports, Honourable Kofi Adams, has been pushing the sports fund, and it's a conversation that he's been constantly having with us, the stakeholders, and also with states. We're almost at a place where the final steps will be taken to make sure that in 2026 we can start rolling and find out how we can get this fund operational and make sure we have enough. It's not just about the funds, but how we can use that to put in place the right measures in order to,
So is the sports fund the magic bullet? Is it a silver bullet?
It is potentially, but again, we need to make sure that it is run well and understand how we use the fund for the purposes for which it is meant, and also the roots. A lot of these federations and associations do not have the proper mechanisms to look after themselves. So instead of saying that come for money, come for funding, why don't we have a situation where they can now generate through their own means, be very innovative, and find means to have a constant stream of funding outside of their traditional, system.
Just one more question about the sports fund. From your understanding, where's the seed money coming from?
Very good, very good point. The seed money obviously will be coming from the big push and the economies of sports beyond the pitch. Beyond the pitch, meaning that now you see a lot of programs where you have Ghana Tourism Authority, you have the Black Star Experience. It's not just about a football match being played, a result, everybody goes home. Before the match is played, during the match, after the match, the ecosystem must continue. And you see that with the Black Queens, with the Black Stars, you see that at boxing events, music, entertainment, showbiz, tourism. It's all part of the package. It's not just about sports anymore. And that's where we're going. And it should be constant. Even when there's no game at the Ankrah Sports Stadium or Babayara Sports Stadium, we should find a way to make sure that there's something happening.
That sounds more like commercialization of your infrastructure.
Yeah, we have to.
But I thought there would be some money from somewhere, at least to begin with.
At the moment, no. But help is on the way. It's on its way, and it will come very soon. I don't want to jump the gun.
No, I wouldn't put you in a very uncomfortable situation.
The minister would roll out officially the countdown to the activation of the sports fund, and there'll be a number of media engagements to educate all of us as to how it works. So there's no gray area and question marks, and people understand exactly what we're doing. Not, hey, where's this coming from? Why are you taking money from us? No. I think when we get to that point, you'd understand that this potentially could be the solution.
We are hoping on here to have a conversation with the sports minister, so maybe you put in a word for us to get and sit down with him.
He talks. He doesn't like talking much, but when it is relevant and necessary, he will talk, and he engages very well.
If you are just joining us, this is GTV Sports Plus SNL. My guest tonight is Ampofo Ankrah, Director General of the National Sports Authority. We're talking about a variety of issues relating to sports administration, indeed sports development in the country. Yeah, recently when the budget was read, people felt that there was a very huge omission, which is they have the 150 million allocated for World Cup. They saw other figures. What they didn't see was the budget for sports for 2026. Considering that there's Commonwealth Games, there are other huge events that are going to take place. There's a hosting of the African Athletics Championship. And it was quite a huge omission. What's the explanation for that? Why didn't we hear anything about the budgeting for these events and indeed for the other sports beyond the Black Stars?
Yep. Obviously, when a new government comes into office, there is an existing budget they're running on from the previous administration. There are projects that are ongoing. There are debts to be serviced. There are external and internal influences. And in so doing, you find that this new budget, yes, it talks about the biggest event of the year in 2026, the World Cup. But there's also an opportunity for us to come back and say that, yes, this is the outright budget, but we found ways to also cater for the Commonwealth Games, the African Championships, which is quite innovative as against previously. Everything is coming from the state. So your question is very relevant, but it also gives us an opportunity very soon to explain why that is not a huge omission as such, but an opportunity to put something new on the table, and it will be done in due course. That's my answer.
Because
it wasn't.
There was no accompanying explanation. I read the budget, and I was looking for any explanation, anything to fill in the blanks. There was none.
So we were in Parliament a few days ago, myself and my minister, and this also came up, and there will be a pleasant surprise, at the right time. We've been working, we've not been sleeping, but I think what I can say is that we trust the process. We're not going to hide anything.
Are we still hosting the African Championships, the Athletics
Yes,
Championships?
we are. I'm very confident of that. I was with Bawa Husseini, the CEO, a few days ago, and I've worked with him for years at Beach Soccer. He was our first, general secretary, and he's working tirelessly to ensure that we do have it. There will be budget provided for that. There will be external budgets. There will be components which will be coming from corporates. So it will be made known at the right time. And I think this is a new way, a new innovative, dynamic way to shore up and make sure that we have what it takes to host these international games and the federations to also be catered for.
Athletes have nothing to fear. I mean, because in previous Commonwealth Games, people have finished, they have the medals, they don't have the accompanying bonuses. So when you haven't heard figures being allocated, you as a federation begin to get worried.
We've had discussions, and the president of the GOC is very proactive man, lawyer Richard Apokabi. He's been working tirelessly behind the scenes. As I speak, I believe he's still in Glasgow doing some work. And the chef de maison, and has done so as well, has a lot of experience from the previous African Games. So the idea is that we have work to do. We need to work and shore up. If we don't have enough to meet these budgets, we have to find a way to do that. And that's good pressure and an opportunity for us to say, hey, look, we've done it. It's been done now, and it can be done going forward. So whoever comes in, that template should be there to provide guidelines and just say, okay, this is how it was done. It can be done. Let's, go this path. I'm not saying it's easy, but it has to be done. That's the pressure or the challenge and an opportunity that presents itself that will go in this path. And I'm very confident we'll do it.
So you're showing the federations there's nothing to fear?
Oh, no, there's nothing to fear. As long as they keep engaging us, there's transparency, and they also tell us, look, these are our challenges. We will tell them. And we've been very transparent. I think that's one thing that when you talk to any of the federations, they will tell you. We talk to them from the sports ministry level, Ghana Olympic Committee, National Sports Authority. We sit as a family and we talk and we engage because we find solutions.
It seems the budget reinforced people's worst fears, which is that in a sporting year when Black Stars qualify, it's bad news for everybody else. That all the resources get pumped.
That's what I used to say when I was in the chair. And now I find myself on the other side. I was talking to kids the other time, and the president of GFA, and I was saying to look, I think this time you make a great example and say, you know what, we've qualified for the World Cup. It is a World Cup. We want to carry Ghana sports along. So maybe any bonus, if we go through the next stage, the more we advance, we're going to give sports a portion of that. You'll be a legend, kids. And he just laughed, and I'm sure it's something that he'll be thinking about, that for the first time, let's think beyond football and make this the big brother example.
Football doesn't share.
Good. Before.
Has never shared.
So this is an opportunity for...
Who's going to give up their bonuses? Is it the management committee members? That for a start would help.
So potentially, Keto Kwaku could be making history, and it would do him a world of good to do something that has never been done before. And he didn't respond negatively. He smiled. Okay. So that's positive. When you get
that's
there,
neutral.
You can ask him that, you're hearing that for the first time, any extras that the Black Stars get. I'm not talking about bonuses for the players or from the budget, no. But whatever FIFA gives you, let's give 1% to Ghana sports ecosystem as our seed to the big push, or whatever they want to call it. It hasn't been done before, but why not now? Other countries do it, so it can happen, and it could drive the support for the team beyond what we've seen.
It still makes football the benevolent. Not football. Let me correct myself. It still makes the Black Stars the benevolent, dictators who pretty much will share their crumbs with others because they get the lion's share.
Yeah, even if 1% is a start, and then whoever comes in the next 4 years or whenever will make it 2%, and then it get. I'm just saying that let's say that it hasn't happened before, so it can't happen. No, it hasn't happened before. So this is an opportunity to make it happen. Very simple terms. Very simple.
Bottom line is that in 2026, right, you are under the microscope, because it's always a test case to see how other sports get their due and are supported. And I'm not sure they're asking for equality. They're asking for equity to get what they need to pursue their own agenda in the various international sports in a year where all attention will be on the Black Stars and the World Cup.
Very tough.
Yeah, lately I would have heard you rave about rugby and how organized they've been, and how you think associations like that should be the leading lights for sponsorship to come in. What have you seen particularly that should make them the template, and where's the attraction for the corporates? And why are the others not doing the same?
There's a young lady called Rafatu Inusa. She's the first female president. And I'm not saying female because, okay, let's give her a special mention because she's a woman. No, I'm just saying that this is a young lady who is at the helm of affairs of a very, very difficult sport.
Rugby?
Yeah.
It's a very macho sport.
It's a very macho sport. And what they're doing...
And they have had a female president before, haven't they?
Gifty Anamaya. Yeah. So you have the rugby union, and then you have... Rugby league. When I first encountered them, I didn't realize that they were very firm about this is rugby league, this is rugby union.
Yeah,
very, very firm, very clear. You know, don't get it mixed up. You know, DG, we are. But it wasn't animosity. It was more about we're so proud of being rugby league. We're so proud, and of course the footage, the slides from the encounter between Ghana and Nigeria, the Heritage Cup. That's Collins, the white chap. He's a Ghanaian. He's a British Ghanaian. Plays for Ghana, the Black Eagles. They beat Nigeria. What was it? 38-12.
I found the names quite confusing.
Yeah,
because for once the Eagles were Ghanaians, and the Nigerians were other styles, like the
interesting.
Who were Eagles.
Yeah, rugby. And what I like about what I'm seeing now is that Herbert Mensah, who for a long period of time this is at the Ankrah Sports Stadium, where the other rugby league had their first training session at the Ankrah Sports Stadium for the impending championship, and they loved it. And what we're also trying to do at the NSA is to ensure that if there's no football, let's allow other sports to benefit, whether it's the grass or it's the dressing room or it's the courts. Let's just be open-minded and protect the infrastructure and help these sports and federations. So it's an open door policy, and I think it's yielding good results. There's some openness, there's a lot of transparency, and what I like is their branding. It's so important how you look and you're perceived out there. They're very particular, very deliberate about what they put out there. And yesterday at the University of Ghana rugby arena, I would call it stadium, we saw that, with coaches and former players from South Africa, Zimbabwe, the UK players coming through who are not at the top yet, but want to use this opportunity to perhaps get into the Ghana national team. And suddenly Ghana is, under the microscope in a positive way, and people are beginning to say, okay, there is potential there. We need to invest. So if we have corporates coming in, a lot of companies that have their headquarters outside, being very interested in rugby, they can have conversations as to what do we do now? How do we get this on a more permanent basis? How do we go into schools? How do we sustain this training? The sports science that goes with rugby is very meticulous because of the nature of the sport. So they're having good conversations, which is very important, with the South Africans, with the Zimbabweans, with the Aussies, and Herbert Mensah being the president of African rugby does Ghana no harm at all. Herbert Mensah, where he's coming from, and his clout and the power of convincing not just people but international bodies to believe and trust in Ghana. And I think I like what I'm seeing. There's a really good vibe about the rugby family, both the league
And
the union, yeah.
Kudos to Herbert Mensah. Since the Max Brito days, he's he
persistent.
90s. He's been very persistent and consistent as far as rugby is concerned. And the Ultimate Internationals just ended. We saw South Africa crashing the Welsh.
Yeah, was it 73-0?
Yeah,
unprecedented
in Cardiff. So we know the heights to which they have reached. This is like final cycle in preparation for the World Cup, which is to come. Yeah, let's talk about infrastructure.
Sure.
Is that your biggest headache as Director General of the NSA?
It's the biggest challenge for sports in Ghana, but I've seen some good signs that we need to have conversations again about the corporates world and getting them in that conversation. What can we do? What is in it for them is very important.
Well, what is the nature of the challenge? I know you yourself have expressed frustrations about a lot of things. I mean, recently you spoke about Koko Stadium, and you were talking about how it's lack of documentation. It seems like it's illustrative of generally what the situation is with a lot of the areas. But having been on the ground, I've seen you visited almost every facility. What really, give us a raw view. What's the nature of the challenge with our infrastructure?
There's a myriad of problems, and I try to replace the word problems with challenges. And I think it's very simple, because for someone who is not into infrastructure, I'm not an architect, I'm not a quantity surveyor, all these things. When people are talking about, okay, we have a problem at Esipong, the stadium has problems here and there, it will cost us so I'll be like, okay, where do we get the money from? Rather than saying, why did we use materials that after 5-10 years we need to replace them? Why do we have a history of renovation? I've looked into this, and it's bizarre. Why do we keep on doing this? Every few years we do renovation. We release millions of dollars or CDs to do renovations, and then after some years we go back and we do it again.
Have you found answers to that? Why are we always doing renovations?
So we're in the process. I mean, 8 months and I'm still eye-openers. If you buy a new mobile phone, whether it's an iPhone or Samsung, there's a manual, there's something that comes with it.
Yeah.
If there's any problems or warranty or whatever. If a new car, showroom, open a glove compartment, there will be something that, in case of this or that, bring it back, we'll do this, and after 6 months, if there's a problem, we'll give you a new car. Tear rubber, as we say, brand new. So when we build stadiums or sporting infrastructure, what happens to the manual? Where is that? What is it that we don't have a manual, so that when Sami Bartels comes and he says, okay, this is what I'm supposed to do, before potentially there's a problem every 2 years, Sami Bartels will do it. Get a team. There's a budget. Go ahead and do it. But what happens to the manual?
Are you saying you can't find these documents?
So that's a challenge. And then you find documents from maybe 5 years ago that some works were done, and they 5 years ago didn't have a manual, so they've done work. Perhaps they didn't build a stadium. Then you have a contractor who do a bit of a work, and then it stops. Another one takes over. Where are the documents? It's a vicious cycle.
So now, this is from 2007 for a tournament in 2008.
Right.
Tamale 2007 before. Accra Sports Stadium in its current form.
Right.
2007 completed before 2008.
There were renovations
in its
again.
current form.
Yeah.
The same thing. Accra has had another major renovation.
Right.
2018 for the women's.
Right.
There's
and then a little bit again during the African Games, touch-ups here and there.
Perpetual cycle.
Yeah.
Are you saying the original documents from the contractors? I know it was Concert for Accra Sports Stadium. The Chinese did the one in Tamale. Those original documents, which should be the basis to build on anything or to do regular maintenance on particular. You're saying these don't exist?
So they may exist, but maybe they're hiding somewhere that we don't have access to, or with someone who perhaps doesn't even know they're in need. So yeah, you mentioned Konsa, then you hear Micheletti, then you hear this, the Chinese. It's that I'm not saying because of 8 months, but I'm asking myself, why don't we have documents or a maintenance manual that works for Babayara, Cape Coast, so that whoever comes, we know this is.
Have you asked for it? Estates should have it, shouldn't
absolutely.
they?
We've had conversations with the estates. Oh, absolutely.
They don't have it.
It's frustrating. I'm not saying they don't have it. I've not cited
You've not seen them.
So yes, you get a bit of information. This contractor will bring his. So if we're able to cut that and say that henceforth, Sami Bartels has a department, bring all the experts you need, let's pay them well. Henceforth, every single stadium in Ghana, this is how we have to maintain. It's proactive. Let us be not reactory. And now we have a challenge. We need to go back and check the material that we use, because we've built the Accra Sports Stadium at a place where the natural elements would be very aggressive on the structures because of the materials used. Now go back to 2007, and then you ask yourself, okay, so why was this material used? Because this material, in 5 years' time, it will begin to show signs, or in 10 years' time. So if we know that, Sami Bartels will know that, okay, we are 2 years to that time. Let's start working on it so that we're ahead. We need to use the natural chemicals that we should use, and we need to change this before time. We need to tighten bolts, change them, do all of that. Not when the stadium starts to vibrate when there's a goal, or things start falling down, and then you now start to call Konsa or Micheletti or the Chinese. That's been the vicious cycle.
Accra Sports Stadium was one of your biggest challenges when you took office. Mainly because it needed to be brought up to a certain level to host World Cup qualifiers. You promised that some renovations will be done.
Did I promise? We said it had to be done.
Has it been done?
Oh yes, quite a bit has been done to make sure we play the World Cup qualifiers. Yes. Beyond that, we still need to take it to that next level.
What's the target? Usability or a complete renovation to make it safe, to make it secure, and to prolong the life of the stadium?
Yeah, that's
because the pitch is not good, but there's more to the football than just the pitches. There's a whole facility.
That's why there's an ongoing structural audit where it's in phases and stages. So once this first step is done, the next one, we need to now get that report, which would advise us on the state of Accra Sports Stadium, and it will tell us whether or not the structures can withstand the natural elements for the next 5 or 10 years. And then we need to also decide with the experts, what do you think? Should we go and look for funding to do this again and do it right, and it will last us for the next 10 years? Or we should bring everything down and change the whole concept of the way stadia is built, and we shouldn't have headache for the next 20 years if we just have constant maintenance, template or manual. There is a manual that the NSA is concluding, which will be presented to the ministry, and they will look at that, and I'm sure with the experts we'll have a final document which we'll work with, because we didn't come to meet a maintenance manual.
Would that decide the question of, it's quite clear to me that we definitely need a new stadium.
Sure.
Would that decide the question of whether that new stadium is the Accra Sports Stadium, regenerated, rebuilt, or it goes somewhere else? Would that question be decided from this manual? There's been talk of a new national stadium at Portima, right? which was originally supposed to have been built, but wasn't built.
We can only commission the work, get the reports, look at it. Okay, we're not experts, but this is what it's saying. Experts, come. This is the report. What do you think? Have the stakeholders, engagement, look at the options, and then, of course, the big man with his vision and wisdom would decide, I think it's time for us to do A, B, C, D. I'm going to get money from here, or, finance minister, come, we need to do this. or call the Saudis, call the Brits, call the Americans, call the Germans, whatever. I'm sure we have the capabilities to do that, and then they will decide. Mine is the servant. Just tell us what's going on. This is their report. The experts who do that, and then we provide that report, and then we stay back and wait for that decision. But if we're asked, yes, I mean, living at the Ankrah Sports Stadium for the past 8 months gives me a little bit of an idea as to what doesn't work and what works, and what I would want if I was to be guaranteed, you know, X number of years. Okay, in the next 3, 4, 5 years, this is what should be done. Please, let's take care of this immediately. But it's not all in my hands at all.
This is a Sunday Night Live SNL here on GTV Sports Plus. Ampofo, Ankrah, Director General of the National Sports Authority, is uncensored tonight. He's answering all my questions. We'll be back after this break, where we would finish the conversation on Ghana sports and sports development. We've spoken about funding, we've spoken about infrastructure. There are a few more topics to touch on. And then we will look ahead to Ghana's game against England, not the men versus each other. It's the Lionesses of England hosting the Black Queens of Ghana in 2 days' time. We'll talk about that and look ahead to the World Cup draw, which is set to take place on the 5th of December at the Kennedy Center in Washington, D.C. in the United States of America. Anywhere around the stadium or any sports infrastructure, they will call him Mr. DG or Mr. Ampofo Ankrah. Tonight, I call him Yao. He says he's okay with that.
Yes, I'm very okay with that.
And so far, we've looked at some of the challenges and opportunities in the development of Ghana sports. We've looked at infrastructure, we've looked at funding, and a few other things. In wrapping this up, Yao, I should ask you about the relationship with the minister. The boundaries and how you manage it, because in the past we have had some challenges between the heads of institutions like the NSA and their ministers. We've had challenges with micromanagement and outright conflicts. Some have lost their jobs as a result of this.
Absolutely.
How's your relationship with Minister Kofi Idi Adams?
Yep, very good. We drink tea whenever we can. No, but you know, he's a very accomplished, astute politician, and he's coming from a background of thick, hardcore politics. You know, he was once special aide to the late Jerry John Rawlings. That's no mean feat. So I need to respect him in that way, and I do, and I've given him that respect, and I believe he's also given me that respect. A media person coming from a very strong corporate background and hardcore politician, we have to agree to work together. Otherwise, you know, there'll be blows. But we've not had any of that. We disagree strongly, but we agree, and I respectfully understand that he's my boss, and we have a very good working relationship. It's the system that we find ourselves in, where the NSA plays its role, and the ministry obviously has that oversight and supervisory role with the policies to ensure and help us to deliver.
What do you have to say to that?
I'm worried.
There'll be concerts and events at the Ankrah Sports Stadium.
Yeah, I'm worried as well. But so far, we've turned down a number of lucrative proposals to use the pitch, to use the entire stadium and the entire pitch. We've had to turn down almost, close to 1 million Ghana cedis because we can't risk that. And we're making efforts to bring pitch covers. If the pitch covers come before the start of that festive season, we're almost there.
Is it likely that you'll have pitch covers?
It's likely.
What kind of pitch covers are you getting?
Good. It's a good grade where you can have the whole pitch covered, and there are perforations to allow for air, and if it rains, or you can water the pitch through those perforations. What is it called? Is it photosynthesis? So if the pitch is covered for 24, 48, maybe 72 hours, the negative
impact on the grass,
that's right, will not be so much felt. So it's an experiment, but it's carefully thought, calculated risk. We need to do it now, see how it works, so that going forward we know we tried it over that Christmas period, it worked, we can continue, or it didn't work, we need to do something else.
I saw your IGF from the budget. Not very encouraging. Your actual and projected IGF, internally generated fund. So you must be really caught between a rock and a hard place. Yes, 2024 and the projected in 2025. and the projections for 2026, 2027, and 2028, which is in March. So you must be under the cosh pretty much, having to turn down money. But what's the guarantee that these covers will come in time for Christmas? Because I'm sure people will still be knocking at your doors for the opportunity to host events at the Ankrah Sports Stadium.
Yep. I think one of the lessons learned, and this obviously, the President's Cup, the sports minister said, yeah, it's the President's Cup. Let's make it grand. Let's make it great. Let's find a way to let it work. What can we do? And it's the minister who came up with the idea of using behind the pitch, even though it's Shatawale, it worked. And he had a meeting with Shatta. The minister had a meeting with Shatawale, explained to him. He said, no problem, you're the boss. We did that. It worked perfectly. We had a full house. And then that pressure that, okay, we've done it once, so why would you want to mess up the pitch? So subsequently, we've had programs, even the biggest church program, which initially, because the previous time they were given the pitch and the contract basically was silent on it, so they could say, well, it's the stadium, we know that includes the pitch, but we had to have conversations and agree that no, not this time. And they were very respectful of the situation and the challenges, and they said, okay, let's try this solution. And then we had that concept of, and it looked beautiful, it was immaculate, it was fantastic, and it was successful. It went well for them. The optics were great globally and locally, so that standard has been set. But others obviously would tell you that it says the stadium and we need the pitch, so we need to find a way to address that, and we're finding solutions.
You know what they say in Godfather, make them an offer they can't refuse.
Right.
Can anybody make you an offer you can't refuse? And you say, you know what, you could use the pitch.
No, because the conversation is not just about NSA, it's a national conversation, and I would be very naive and reckless to just say, okay, bring 2 million Ghana cedis and use the pitch, and whatever happens. We can't do that. And thankfully I've got a very strong team of people, the estates, the security, the marketing people. Everybody's agreed that we need to protect the pitch. So far that has given us glory and good vibes and good PR as well. It's given us, the NSA, some lift, so we need to continue that. But like I said, we need to also be innovative, and around this period find means to protect the pitch and have these concerts. Medical has a concert coming up, Stoneboy has a concert coming up, I don't know if I should, and a few other international stars.
All away from the pitch, in the stadium, but not on the pitch.
In the stadium and around the pitch, but not on the pitch.
Not on the pitch.
We're continuing to negotiate.
I wish you well on that. Let's boxing. You announced at the beginning of the month, officially lifting the ban on boxing, and you said significant progress has been made. What is significant progress?
Every boxer, professional boxer in Ghana has now been registered for the first time. There's a database. The site will go live this week. It went live last night for the bout in Takwa. Perhaps the media coverage of that was a little bit low because traditionally Bukum, and that's another, I wouldn't say it's a problem, it's a challenge that we need to address, that boxing is Bukum, but Bukum is not only...
So there's traditional home of boxing, but we need to diversify in order to be able to get talents from all over.
Absolutely, and that's what we're also working on. The northern region, the Ashanti region, Western Central, there are boxers there. In the Volta region as well, there are boxers everywhere. So we need to do that. So this registration of pro boxers in Ghana, first of its kind, free health screening for all these pro boxers. So you register, we get your details, your weight, the basics, the vitals, and then you go for health screening.
The health screen, does it include the scans?
Everything,
the MRIs and all the other scans?
Yes. So now the medical commission has been set up.
Okay.
And they
made up of how many people?
Dr. Hadi plus 5 other experts, and then they have international medics.
Are these generalists or specialists?
Specialists and generalists. And they've now opened up a portal where general practitioners can now specialize for the first time. At the last count, at the last meeting, the head of the medical team, Dr. Hadi, told me that at the time 19 health professionals
who pay for their training.
So that is where I'm coming to. This is where it's getting interesting, because there is an insurance company that we've almost sealed the deal, and obviously I cannot announce it on this platform, but they have been taking care of the medical screening of the boxers. And again, this week we should make more of these announcements. Takwa was a test case. The report I'm yet to read.
So
it was
at
just
Takwa,
24 hours ago.
you had ringside
That's right, physicians,
professional physicians.
Excellent.
Minimum 2 of them.
Excellent. So Dr. Adi himself, as well as Dr. Tete, and now they can experiment with these new protocols, pre, during, and post. So that report now becomes a template. This is what happened in Takwa. This is what went right. Tick, tick, tick the boxes. Now for the next fight, we need to ensure that this is done. So we're progressing. There's steady progress, and I'm very. I would say I'm thankful and grateful for these professionals who've taken their time over the last few months to put in so much work. And then there will be a manual which will be called the Black Book, which will have the first ever medical manual for boxing in Ghana. And this manual, because of the way it's been put together by these professionals, with help from outside experts.
You should be thankful to the original committee as well that made the recommendations.
Absolutely,
right?
yes. And you know, Amaka Matthew has been excellent. Calling, checking up, a lot of support from him, and indeed the others quietly. My good friend, our brother Eko Asma, his criticism is always constructive. He wants the best. You know, he's a thoroughbred through and through boxing man. Uncle Moses Formoni. At the height of the crisis, he was very supportive. Would advise, you know, call this person. He's based in the USA. Call this person. He's based in London. They can help. They can advise. There was a lot of backlash from the boxing stakeholders. They were not happy. They threatened demonstrations. I'm sure you heard of. You know, a lot went down, but now there's stability, and we're moving to the next level. And thankfully, boxing is back.
We'll keep an eye on it, because I am always about the success criteria. It's not just the actions, but the impact that they have. But just a final one on my interview with you, which is, I'm not saying you walk away from the job next month, but if you walked away from this job, let's say by the 31st of December 2026, for an even bigger appointment, what would be at least one thing that you say this defined the Ampofo Ankrah era at the National Sports Authority?
I can't say that. That would be you. That would be everybody else. That would be my that would be the president, the minister. I can't say. I don't think I've even sat back to think about that. It's about every single day making sure, because it's relentless. Surely
you must have legacy at the back of your mind.
Oh yes, I mean every day. I think people can talk about the little things that now become bigger things. You know, Isipong is back and running. It's the NSA struggled. The staff there. Let me use this platform to commend them. For the first time, all the sprinklers at the Ankrah Sports Stadium are working. They just need to be tweaked and adjusted here and there. You know, these might seem very minor, but if it's not been done for the past few years, then it becomes significant. We've qualified for the World Cup. It was a team effort. The GFA should take the credit. So too the ministry, so to the NSA. Babayara is back. You saw the brown pitch before. We took, you know, Cape Coast is running again.
These are all usable, right?
Absolutely.
But people are, as you said, there's a longer term plan, and there's something to be measured for the long term viability of these stadiums.
Absolutely.
Right? And we'll see. Hopefully in March we can have another conversation and look at your 1 year in office.
Sure,
and
God willing.
Hopefully in that 4 months period you would have added more
We hope so, and can announce more partners, and
which will be fantastic.
Yeah, it will be very interesting.
Yeah, World Cup is coming.
It's tricky.
For the very first time, you won't have a microphone at the World Cup, right?
Yeah. Next year will be 20 years.
That is strange.
It's great.
He's from 2006 and every other World Cup. Suddenly, you'll be walking around in World Cup pasty.
I need to look for Talal Fatah and ask him, boss, what are we doing? The diary. But the diary has come to stay. So whoever does the diary is the diary. It's still a diary. And I would want to watch at least a couple of matches in Ghana, because I've never watched a World Cup match at home in Ghana. Never.
Strange times. But it just shows how the times have shifted.
Absolutely.
Let me quickly mention that on the 2nd of December, which is Tuesday, Ghana's Black Stars, Ghana's Black Queens are playing against the Lionesses of England. Now, I had the Black Stars at the back of my mind because coming into the studio, I was thinking back to 29th March 2011. Yeah, were you in Wembley for that game?
Asamoah Gyan's Maisie goal, with Kweku Fusua backing him at pitch side.
I mean, that was big. It was a huge cultural event.
Yep.
It may not be at the same proportion, but just how big is this opportunity for the Black Queens to play against the Lionesses?
Massive. There's a momentum, and so there's a woke vibe around Black women, Black history, Black excellence, and that has now shifted into sport. So anything, and Ghana is seen as a model. The Black Queens, regrettably, over the years have been kind of left behind, even though they've chalked relative successes. This time around, they're pushing the agenda. There's, Ama Broby behind the scenes, pulling the strings. They look and feel. The coach from Sweden, I always get his name tongue twisted, doing a good job. They've got new players who've come in with a different mindset, energy to the team. There's a rawness, but at the same time, gradual rise of confidence in the team. This would be their biggest test, no doubt. It's a friendly, but it's not a friendly. There's a lot that will be answered in this game. How far they've come and how far they have to go, and how they'll deal with the English mentality on and off the pitch. Because winning against Aston Villa ladies was quite a good psychological boost, that they would have the confidence that they can take on these girls, and they're the same girls from these clubs. Obviously, Arsenal and the rest dominates. But I'm positive they'll get a good game. St. Mary's, Southampton.
And for me, it's also a big opportunity to build the Black Queens brand. The English national team, the Lionesses, are one of the biggest brands in women's football in the world. If you get the chance to play them, you are getting the eyeballs and all the attention. They warmed up by beating China by 8-0. I'm not saying that's what will happen. So as we mentioned to you that this game is live on GTV, Sports Plus. There'll be a public viewing in there. Let me just also mention that on Friday, the World Cup draw is taking place. This is for the men's national team, the Black Stars. And it will determine the destiny of Ghana as far as the groupings are concerned. And you would know that Ghana is in pot 4. There are a few permutations that I just want to run by you so you know that until 2022, all the FIFA World Cup draws were done such that they were strictly based on geographical positioning. It's only in 2022 that they started using rankings for the non-seeded teams. Now, what that means is that before you had a South America and African grouping where Ghana was usually placed until 2022, when the seedings were based on FIFA rankings for everyone involved. It means that as far as constraints are concerned, Ghana, the only exceptions are that Ghana cannot play any of the African teams, whether they are in Port 2. And in Port 2, you have Senegal and Morocco. In Port 3, you have Egypt, Algeria, Tunisia, La Côte d'Ivoire, and the Republic of South Africa. But Ghana must play at least one of the top seeds in Port 1, one of the seeds in Port 2, which is where you have the challengers that are not in the first spot, and then you have the mid-tier teams in Port 3. So the question then becomes, what will be an ideal draw for Ghana, and you'd have to go through to realize that we haven't always had the kindest of draws. In 2006, which was the maiden one, we had the Czech Republic, which was number 2 in the world at the time.
They hadn't lost for over a year.
Yeah.
The Italians were
eventual winners. That group.
The Americans, and
then you had the Americans. So Ghana was the lowest ranked team, and then you had 2010, which wasn't easy as well. We had
we had the USA,
Germany, and Australia. And
the USA was in the next round, wasn't it?
Yeah. And then we saw what happened in 2014. We had the Germans in our group.
Portugal.
We had Portugal in our group, and we had the US again. So I think Ghanaians are tired of the US, and if they are playing at home, we don't even want to meet them at home.
We'll probably meet them in the semi-final this time round. Yeah. So
Trump will probably be issuing threats to say, you guys.
People are now praying for you. I get messages. Okay, I want to go to the World Cup. How do I go? I said, I don't know. I mean, let's wait for the draw on Friday, and then we can.
Your job is hard, though.
Everybody wants to go, and I'm sure we can. Even if, look, Sammy, for argument's sake, let's assume, right, that being as optimistic as we can, let's assume that 100,000 Ghanaians are able to go to the World Cup. We still have 5 million Ghanaians who watch at home. So we need to really lower expectations. I'm not saying people shouldn't want to go. Please don't attack me. If you want to go to the World Cup, do the right thing. Apply, give the right information. You don't have to wait until the draw, but it would help. If we happen to be in Canada, great. If we happen to be in Mexico, great. Prepare and go to the World Cup. But to expect that all of us are going to go to the World Cup, that's not real.
What worries me is how many people may end up losing money, giving money to the wrong people as usual.
So
and all of that. What are you doing to prevent that? You're NSA. You're in a very powerful position. There's the ministry as well.
Sure.
As always, there will be representations from people. False representation.
Honorable Kofi Adams has set up a committee, the Interministerial Committee, obviously, and recently at Jubilee House, another committee which would help put things in place, the strategies in making sure that the right things are done. And you heard from the minister that it's not about shipping or flying people to the World Cup, but how to manage expectations and to do things right. And they're working hand in hand with the embassies, the high commissions is very important. So that's how it will be run. Having a good relationship with the Canadians, the Mexicans, and the Americans would help. They can communicate that to everybody that, look, this is what's going to happen. If you want to go, these are the processes that must be followed. And then, of course, corporate Ghana, come on board. Let's all see what we can do. Raise some funds from corporate Ghana and convince states that, look, X millions have been raised through these committees. Why don't you top up? It's not going to be the other way around where there'll be pressure on states to bring millions to ship fans. But I'm confident that there'll be a good combination whichever way. But like I said, this time around, I want to watch a couple of matches at home as a fan without a microphone. I'm looking forward to that.
New experience.
Yeah, I want to see what it's like when we watch a Black Stars game and, we're watching them far away in Canada, USA, or, Mexico, and how the vibe is, which I've not had in 20 years.
Wow.
Yeah, mine is getting old, though.
I don't know.
Yeah, next year, 20 years.
Wow. Since the diary.
2006, so, I was a young man like you 20 years ago. So, let's see how it goes. But, we're going to work hard and push.
I've enjoyed my conversation with you thoroughly. Thanks a lot for making time to be with us. And I'm sure those who have listened have had a lot of questions answered as far as operations of the National Sports Authority. And I'm sure people have more questions. Please, we are not averse to receiving your questions. Keep sending those questions to us. We always like to speak truth to power. We'll pass them on to Yao, who is always gracious and makes himself available to answer some of these questions. That's our show for today. We'll be back same time next week reviewing the draw, because by the end of Friday we'll know where Ghana will find itself, location, the group, among other things, and we'll have a comprehensive review of that.
It's going to be exciting.
Yeah, thanks a lot for being a part of our show.
Yep, and you're invited to the Accra Sports Stadium on Friday. We're having a live draw, so come and sit down, have some wine, Fanta, Coke, Sobolo.
You provide all of that?
Yeah, just
palm wine, you said.
I said palm wine. Did I say palm wine or wine?
You said
wine, palm wine. So come and relax, giant screen. People from all the 48 countries will represent.
Just note that attending the draw doesn't mean you are getting a visa or a ticket.
No, just come and enjoy. Thank you. Thank you for that. Yes.
Thank you, Yao.
Very important.
All right, that's our show for tonight. We'll see you next week. Have a fantastic week. And always remember, Jesus loves you. We are showing the Black Queens match live on Tuesday. Kickoff is 7 p.m. here on GTV Sports Plus. There's public viewing on the outside compound of the Ghana Broadcasting Corporation. So you can come in there and watch the game before driving home after work.